The third one, she gives huge value liberally. Huge value liberally. This one is she prioritizes sex. She initiates, appreciates his sexual nature and efforts, enjoys sex, and plays often.
Yeah.
So Ruth and her husband had a really fun conversation about this one. So I'm going to let you kind of head
Okay.
this one.
Okay. So caveat to this and to really all of them is if you feel like you can't give big value, if you feel like you don't enjoy sex or you feel like you can't play often, do the work on figuring out why and how to change that. If you've had sexual trauma in the past, stats show that 1 out of 4 girls before they're 18 have had sexual trauma. That's before they're 18.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a whole lifetime, like that's not even to college yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 out of 4, but I will also say 1 out of 5 men. Okay. And the stats that I'm running off of are kind of older stats. I think my stats when I was studying this intently was in the 90s or the early 2000s. So I don't know if it's gotten better or worse. I think when I looked before just to verify, I think those are still about the same numbers, but that's 1 out of every 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And what we know about these kinds of things is kind of demographics. Mm-hmm. Like you might be like me and all my sisters, me and every friend I've ever had since before high school, right? Maybe you've had previous marriages, maybe you've had more serious boyfriends where things just got really shitty. Mm-hmm. So if there's any kind of trauma, any kind of distrust, like please do yourself a favor and go take care of that. Therapists, coaches, whatever you need to do. Our next conversation that we're going to have is with Andy Jenkins. She is a life coach and she specializes in betrayal trauma, which is huge for sex life. If your husband you can't trust him for stuff, like that's a big deal. Porn, that's a thing. Mm-hmm. You don't want to feel like, you're just something he's coming to after he's got the real thing he enjoys. So like, I'm just going to put the caveat to this conversation. Like, if you can't enjoy it, if you don't trust him, like do the work to make it happen. Whatever it is, it's totally worth it. Do yourself the favor, make that happen. Okay. Is that a fair little caveat?
I think what I want to just clarify, do the work so that you can be healed, so that you can heal yourself, not just so that you can,
again, for something.
Yeah. Like just so that you can, have sex with your husband or whatever. That's a great symptom that will come, but do the work for yourself so that you can be in a good headspace for yourself.
Yes.
For your own sexuality. Mm-hmm. And then you can bring that to the relationship, but you have to have your own healing and understanding about your own sexuality, because if you don't, that shows up in your marriage in all kinds of weird ways.
Yep. Big time. And if this is hitting you, right, then you already know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the prioritizes sex. So I expressed this to my husband and he was like, I didn't realize you see it that way. Like he's like, it's evident, but like me verbalizing it, he was like, that's cool. So I see it as the woman is responsible for leading the sexual relationship. And the man is responsible for leading the emotional relationship, because we're the ones that hold the power in both sides, because stereotypically we're the ones who yearn for that less. So we're going to be the brake on both sides. So we have to be the one to apply the gas to it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's why, I don't know if you've thought about this way, but that's why the men stereotypically ask the girl on the dates and plan the dates and all the things, is him leading in that emotional intimacy road and guiding that and taking that down.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the girls, like for the like the pre-wedding girl party, what is that called? The Bachelorette. Bridal party, like stereotypically, that's when you have the girl talks and that's when you get the preparatory clothes. And now we're like super like open about it. It's a little, I would say almost can be super crude and disrespectful, but in the, when it first was like a thing, that's when it was like, okay, girlfriend, this is how you now like, you start to lead this because this is in your path. And my husband really appreciated that. Like I put it on my goals. Every week I have a goal. of our intimate relationship, whether it's going to be try something new, whether it's going to be a frequency, whether it's going to be so many flirty texts, whether it's going to be something. And he didn't know I did that, even though he did know I was doing it. So, but you prioritize it and you make sure to make it happen, at least
it's important
to the
to
minimum.
you.
Yes.
Make
At
it
least to the
important
minimum
to you.
of it. You don't have to plan everything, but if you're at a point where the spontaneity isn't happening frequently, and I guess everybody gets to decide frequency, if both of your partner and you are happy with the frequency and the intensity and the exploration and stuff, then you don't have to schedule it very often. But I would say bare minimum, that's what I would say. So prioritize it. So you're scheduling it, you're initiating it. Men love it when you initiate. They love it. They're more than willing to do the work. Their body is programmed to initiate. But they love it. They want to feel desired. They want to feel reciprocated. Most men I know, they work through a lot of shame around their libido. They feel like they're a pest. They feel like it's something to be ashamed of. They feel like it's a burden to you. And maybe it is. But if you have that energy and it just like, it creates this monster, right? But if you can look at their libido as a gift to you, and I will tell you as a financial coach, the currency of sex is a gift. Men are not complicated. Again, we're stereotypes. I know that there's stuff outside the lines. Sometimes there are women who want it way more than men. But just if you can look at it as a gift, you don't have to like, every time you have a little moment or a thought or a feeling that you have to like service that act or feeling. But just work on seeing it as a gift. Like it really is a superpower actually, right? Like it's kind of amazing. I have very, 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 like maybe 2 or 3 times been rejected by my husband. Like I was in the mood and he just wouldn't for whatever he was experiencing. And I can tell you, it sucks. It sucks. So the fact that I don't know what that feels like very often is a gift. I don't have to woo him for days. He doesn't have to like recipe is very clear. A, B, C, he's ready, right? He is happy. But with women, they have to go through so much labor. Like it is a hunt for the right thing that will work for you tonight. They have to like be scouring and looking and putting tree stands in the right spots for months. It's exhausting. So the fact that they're willing to do the work so that you can have a great experience, that's a gift. So just look at it as a gift. Don't be ashamed. Don't shame them for their libido. Again, everything needs to be bridled and be in proportions so you can like willingly be happy to like participate and to play. But just work on seeing it as a gift. Again, if you can't see it as a gift, do the work so that it can be a gift in your marriage. I'm really lucky. I don't have a husband that has porn problems or addiction problems or anything, but plenty of friends have. And I can tell you, I empathize with the struggle that would be. But I've also watched them work through and get good relationships. So if you're willing to put in the fight and he's willing to put in the fight, it can be good, but you just got to make it the priority, focus and work constantly at it.